Hey there, business building warrior. Welcome back to Silent Sales Machine Radio. I'm so excited to bring you today's episode. I just had a great conversation with two great friends. So encouraging. They're seeing so much success. They've ramped up very quickly. Of course, I'm talking about students of the Proven Amazon course. You've heard dozens of recent episodes, hundreds of them over the past couple of years of people who are doing the strategies we teach here, and they are building beautiful businesses. Of course, they're struggling. They're going through blood, sweat, and tears and all the effort that goes into doing anything worth doing, but they're succeeding. They're excited. They've got great momentum. Today, we're going to meet Missy and Sissy. They're actually great friends. They live a good distance from each other, but they're doing the business together, as you'll hear. They've got a coach on our team who's helping them ramp up very quickly. They're doing between $300 and $500 in sales per day right now and growing rapidly, doing mostly local sourcing strategies, using retail sourcing, although they're starting to drift into some online sourcing strategies as well. But you're going to hear all about that today. I don't want to steal any of the story, but something that I love about these guys is they're just positivity about this. They've jumped in. Like I said, just a few months ago, they had never done anything with e-commerce. They both work full-time at careers that they both enjoy. They're doing really well with them, but they are looking to eventually make this their full-time job, and they're well on their way. Good friends, known each other a long time, decided to do this together. They've jumped in with both feet, and they've got some great tips and strategies for you as well, and exactly how they find great winning inventory, how their system is set up. It's just the two of them managing a very robust business at this point. They're finding, they said in their own words, more stuff that they can sell profitably than they have time to get to. Isn't that a good problem to have as a seller? They're going to tell you how they're accomplishing that. They talk about several resources today, including our upcoming live conference that they were super excited about. That's the Proven Conference. There's a website. Remember these three words, the Proven Conference. They're going to be there along with hundreds of listeners to this podcast and all the successful students that you've heard interviewed, all the coaches that you've heard us talk about. So many of those people are going to be there July 6th through 8th in Columbus, Ohio. Get your tickets sooner rather than later. I just want to encourage you, start making your travel plans as early as you can, because the price of airline tickets, if you need to fly to Columbus, are going to do nothing but probably go up between now and summer. So you want to take care of that sooner rather than later. Get it locked in. We've got great discounts for the students of our community, our coaching students especially. Huge price breaks. Go over to theprovenconference.com to get your information there. Something else they talked about today that I don't talk about very often on this show is our Kickstart program. If you are a Proven Amazon course student who hasn't found momentum yet, and you want to be in a small Zoom class with other new sellers and have a coach working with you as a small group, you've got to check out our Kickstart program. It's exclusively for Proven Amazon course students. ProvenAmazonCourse.com is the website if you need the information. But we get a good number of those each week. We form them into groups, and we put a coach in charge of the group. It's our Kickstart program, and they help you go from knowing nothing or knowing very little to making your first few sales on Amazon. And our guests today, Missy and Sissy, rave about that program, as you'll hear. So with that introduction, I think we're ready to jump in. Oh, if you want the Kickstart, get over to silentjimdotcom and contact our support team. They'll send you information on that as a Proven Amazon course student. Or if you buy the course, that'll be one of the options you can add to your cart. For just $40, you get a handful of sessions working with a coach and a small team of other new sellers. So often those groups become good friends and continue meeting after the fact. Even we've seen that happen many times now over the past several months. Enough of an introduction. Let's get to the good part. I'm excited to introduce you to my good friends, Missy and Sissy. Let's go. Missy and Sissy, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Hi, Jim. How are
Great
you?
to see you
Thanks
guys
for
again.
having us.
I'm so blessed. Thanks for being here. I'm really excited to get more into your story. We've chatted a little bit in the past, but let's get right into it. Missy, how about we start with you?
All right. So I came upon selling on Amazon, probably like a lot of other people. I watched TikTok and, just saw someone was like, look how I drink my Starbucks every day and drive my Range Rover. And so I was like, oh, and she does what I do on a daily basis. She's just shopping at stores I shop at and, flipping, I guess, quote unquote items. So I immediately call Sissy and I'm like, we're doing this. Like, I'm always looking for the greatest price. And really that's how it started. And
How
I
long
really
ago
didn't
was
need to
that?
say much more. Beginning of October, I think, is when we started to get into it.
Of
And
2022.
Yeah, I would
2022.
say we were dipping our toes in at that point, right, Miss? And then,
Yeah.
we really weren't picking up any real speed, Jim, until December.
Yeah. So we're just talking, 4 to 6 months ago at this point,
Yeah.
because we are March
Correct.
2023 to give the listeners a timeline. All right, great. So keep the story going.
So, immediately we went out and not knowing anything, we went out and started purchasing things. And Sissy lives 2 hours away from me. So that's a little challenging sometimes, but I do try to go out there every other weekend. And so we're like, we're getting a shipment out and, we're doing this, we're doing that. And when we got together, we're like, we have no idea what we're doing. Like we were so excited. We had to stomp on the brakes. And so that was probably really early October. And we sent our first shipment out November 9th. And here we are, and things have been going great. And, I think it was really important at that point to put the brakes on and really we had to educate ourselves. And that's really the key to all this is education, education, education.
Talk me through
And,
that. How have you educated yourself? What steps have you guys taken?
Scouring Facebook. I mean, it took a little bit to discover. I really don't even know how I discovered your community, whether it was through your podcast or the Facebook group, but, just somewhere along very early on, thankfully, because, that really pushed us to the next point was coming upon your community. And even just listening to the podcast, I would pick up I drive a half hour to work and a half hour home every day.
Okay.
That's all I've been listening to since November. And you just pick up so many tips from so many different people who are doing so many different things. And there are so many places around the world. It's amazing.
We also quickly, Jim, picked up that PAC course as well.
Yep.
So that was big for us as well in terms of training with Keepa and just sort of getting the 101s down, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the basics, the 101s, you call them. Yeah, there's actually a module inside the Proven Amazon course called Amazon 101. Very beneficial. It's kind of the foundational starting point, a unique starting point for students in our community. Like you said, the tool Keepa, which if there's a listener here who doesn't know what Keepa is, please go listen to podcast episode 369 at silentjimdotcom 369. That'll explain why we love Keepa so much. And any student around here that you've heard who has a success story on this podcast, the hundreds of them, they've integrated Keepa into their business and they've started learning. There's always more to learn, but learning the basics of Keepa are foundational, very important. Excellent. So you guys dove into the Proven Amazon course, started learning the basics of Keepa. How are you guys doing your sourcing?
Well, I was just going to say, after we did the PAC course, we ended up getting into the training. So we got some coaching. And
you got a coach.
We did. We're with Chris Beam. She's amazing.
Oh, she is. She is a. I say there's just a handful of coaches on our team. Like if I needed someone to motivate and push and coach me, that I would that's who I'd turn to. Chris is one of them. She's amazing. Yeah. She's a motivator, huh? She doesn't take any slack from anybody either, does she?
No. She's, and we said our personalities all match up. We all get along great. I mean, she's just amazing. And she's so, she's so smart. Before we met with Krista, we were actually doing quite well. And we, called for coaching because we wanted to step it up a notch. But we're doing the Replens model and we've been doing really well. I don't know that we're where other sellers are. Everyone's different, but I don't know how impressive our numbers or anything like that are, but that's what we're doing.
It's not so much about impressing other people with where you are now. I'm much more interested in the trajectory, the validation of the concept, and that you guys are on a nice, healthy pace, on a good path, heading towards where you want to be. Those are the kind of things that stand out to me that I think make this community, this show so special. So let's talk through that. You guys hadn't done anything e-commerce, it sounds like, until starting about 6 months ago. And now you've got a viable business.
Yeah, I'd say I keep going back to our first day that we sent a shipment out. I keep going back to that date. So I say 4 months since we've been selling. Yeah.
That's great. And how are you sourcing your product and how's it going? Talk us through your process. And you guys live a fair way away from each other. Do you still have full-time jobs as well?
We do.
Yes.
Both of you? Yeah. So this is a part-time thing for you. Talk us through some of those details.
So we kind of have a couple of stores that we go to. We've just found some really good products that were really profitable. They're really good replens. And we're kind of to the point now of we just kept, we'll replenish what we have. And then we send out a few more items every time, just a couple here and there. We've learned through your community, just throw out 4 or 5, and now we're to the point where we're like, we have cases of things that we can't keep up with our replens. Like, it's amazing. And
there's more replens for you to buy than you have time and resources to go get. Is that what I just heard you say?
They're everywhere. Like once you get it all down and really keep listening, learn, like they're everywhere.
Yeah.
And in fact, we just discovered kind of, I feel like late to the game, but just recently we discovered Small and Light and we're like, what are we doing? So, one thing I would like to tell new sellers is that I've been keeping track of like every little thing. I taught with the help of Sis to learn Excel, like everything's on spreadsheets, everything. And it really became important because the more we grew and, you might add like Inventory Lab, for example, we were able to go back to day one and put in all of our replenishments and, get a good tally. And we were also, more importantly, able to go back to get items that we didn't think were profitable for us and like reevaluate them. Like, would this fit in the Small and Light program? Is this something we should just abandon? Could we do a 2-pack?
So we really changed, right? The demand,
or is there a price change?
Yeah. So there's lots of factors.
Yeah. I love that point that you made, because something I've become fond of saying lately is if it's a good ASIN, there's a very high likelihood, even if it drops off your radar, a bunch of sellers come in, the price drops, you move on and lose interest. There's a really good chance it's going to be a good ASIN again 3 to 6 months later. You kind of just grow your list and you methodically go back and check on the ones that have fallen off the list. You keep your list growing. And before you know it, you've got dozens and hundreds, 1,000 plus even. Many of our sellers are doing really, really well with lists of somewhere between 300 to 500 up to 1,000. That is an incredible business that can be fully automated, kind of boring. All the moving parts are kind of predictable and you're picking up the same products at retail price and same stores, and you got your shoppers and your preppers. That's where I see you guys heading, is kind of in that direction. So do you guys
we're already,
do you guys, where's the operation at? Both your houses?
Yeah.
And one shared account.
I don't have the kids. It's quiet here, Jim.
Yeah, one shared account. There's no kids at her house. I feel like I'm the house mother of a fraternity where I am. I have 2 boys and there's just constantly, but their future, that's another amazing thing is all these kids are anywhere from 16 to 21, 22. They see what I'm doing. And I keep saying, we'll pull you in. We'll pull you in.
That's
we just got to.
So the friends of your sons, you're saying?
Yeah.
That's
They
awesome.
send me, one of them made us a business card just out of the blue. We didn't ask them to.
That's so great.
Yesterday, someone sent us a product. I mean, they ask about the sales. I think they even know your name because we just are constantly talking Amazon, because it's something that they could really all do and have different roles and be successful. And
that's so fun. I love it. You're introducing that entrepreneurial spirit and e-commerce into not only your kids, but their friends. You sound like you're that cool mom, right?
I would say.
A little of both. I don't know how cool, but
I mean, we do have her running.
But she runs a tight ship, Jim.
Oh, no, no question. But still, the house where the boys' friends all hang out tends to be the cool mom. Yeah. Even if you are a really great, strict mom, it's still a cool mom.
Yeah. I've even asked them if we were to get our own prep center out of state in a non-taxable state, would they all come? And they all want to come.
That's great. They'd move with you, huh? That's funny.
And I'm like the aunt. I'm their aunt and all those boys.
That's the aunt. Okay, gotcha. So they know you as well. And so the business is kind of spread between the two places, though, it sounds like.
Yes. So
we're doing a lot of retail arbitrage right now, Jim, to keep up with our refunds. And then working with Chris is where we've started to move into that tactical arbitrage, right? So we can get out of the stores and we can cover more ground, right? So she's been pretty instrumental in helping us with that.
Although I did have a conversation with one of the more successful Replens sellers in our community here just less than a week and a half or so ago as I'm recording this. And he does about $200,000 a month, half OA, online shopping, online sourcing, and half traditional RA, retail arbitrage style. And he says, there's just so much low-hanging fruit with retail arbitrage. Because I hear people sometimes say, oh, I just don't like going to stores, so I don't want to do RA. Like, okay, pay somebody to go to the store.
Right.
Take some shelf pictures. Have someone do the research. You don't have to be the one doing the shopping. Right. I mean, there's plenty of people out there hustling for $12-15 an hour, hitting stores all day, every day for other people. Hire one of them. Put them to work for you. You don't have to be the one going to stores. There's great replens everywhere. And so I would just encourage you guys as you kind of start to expand. I heard you say tactical arbitrage, and we'll get into that here in a moment. But I would say hang on to that RA. There's don't walk away from money. You just systemize it and convenience yourself by putting someone else in place that can do it for you.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I personally love to do it. I'm more of a shopper in the store than Sissy is, I would say, but I have been dragging her and she has been doing it more and more. In fact, the last weekend I was out there with her and we were looking for something and I was like bent down looking, low on the shelf. And I stood up and I looked at Sis and I go, this is what Jim's talking about. We're on an Easter egg hunt right now. And for what? For one item, let's move on.
Right.
So it's fun though. It's fun. And, listening to all of the people on your podcast and just the Facebook group. And then it's like coming into our lives and it's just fun. Like, what would Chris think of us today?
That's so great. You guys are bringing such a great...
The whole community is super supportive, right, Jim? That's really key.
Thank you for pointing that out. I completely agree. And it means something when the members say it versus the guy who kind of started the thing. It sounds self-serving for me to say it, but it really is a special, uplifting, encouraging community. When I'm having those down days, those kind of lulls, I'm like, man, I don't even know what to work on. I'm kind of struggling for motivation with my business, which happens to all of us. The thing I like to do is just kind of find a recent coaching student who's maybe come on board a month or two ago and just text them and like, hey, you want to jump on a call? Let's think through some stuff. What are you working on right now? You got a few minutes, and it boosts you.
Yeah.
And the community is just full of such great energy and people who are doing this the right way. Not that everyone's succeeding wildly. Some of us are struggling and some of us are having, peaks and valleys for sure. But it is a special, uplifting place for sure. And so many success stories. Like, we're an excuse-killing community, that's for sure. Well, okay, let's talk through your business a little more specifics, guys. Well, let's jump back to TA because you mentioned tactical arbitrage. We need to tell the listeners what that is. I'll fill in a couple gaps and you guys take it from there and tell me how it's going. But we had that online, it was called oasimplified.com, OA as an online arbitrage, oasimplified.com. That was our online sourcing strategy course put together by Leah and Jessica. They did a great job. Two great coaches on our team with very robust businesses using exclusively online shopping strategies with the Replens model. That is now a module inside the Proven Amazon course, by the way, for those who don't know. I know you guys knew that. So I'm assuming when you mentioned tactical arbitrage, which we'll stick a link in the show notes to all of this, by the way, but you guys are going through the OA Simplified training, I would assume. And you're looking at tactical arbitrage as a tool. And how's that going? What stage are you at?
Well, I started to do the training and then we started to meet with Chris and we thought, let's hold on the training and maybe Chris can just teach us her way from the beginning. Cause I know it can be complicated and we're still not there yet. We've gotten a couple good searches, but it is something you really have to watch the OA Simplified. And they do they walk you step by step. You can pause it. That's what I do. I pause what they're saying. I make sure I'm doing the right thing and continue on. I mean, like it can't get easier than that. But
yeah, and
we're kind of though.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say the course isn't necessarily for everyone. We've heard some people like, it's tactical arbitrage is kind of too complex. I think I'm going to go kind of do my own thing. But even if you don't wind up using the software TA, which is a little pricey, we got a discount special offer in the show notes. But if you don't use that, you can still benefit from just getting used to how you analyze online opportunities and how to scour e-commerce websites, retail sites. And something else you guys keep in mind too, you've probably heard word that we've got our bot training coming, which is a whole new way to scrape retail sites.
Yeah.
Never been taught
I'm excited
before.
for that.
So excited. One of the coaches on our team has put it together. We've been testing it, several people on our team. It's blowing our minds what this thing does. So that's coming too. So kind of perfecting your skills of finding retail websites that are legitimate sources of potential replens and learning how to kind of comb through them. We're going to give you a very efficient way to comb through and look for opportunity very soon. So yeah, it's a lot of exciting things emerging in 2023 in the world of OA, online arbitrage sourcing for replens. So I'm glad you guys are starting to dip your toes in that. So it sounds like right now, most of your replens are just through retail stores near you, physical shopping, correct?
For now.
Yeah. We do have quite a bit that we've ordered online, though. We do have quite a few replens that we were maybe not able to find in the store. And we had to pay a higher price for them online, but, it was still profitable. And so we have gotten a few shipments. So we're still 50-50. We're still.
I got you. So you're paying shipping, stuff that you're having a hard time finding at a local retail store. You get on that store's website and just go shop for it that way. But you didn't necessarily discover it through OA.
No.
I got you. You're starting to dive into that a little bit. Well, give me some numbers that you guys are willing to share from your business. You said it's going well. You guys are happy with your progress. How is it going?
I'll say that we're up 62% this week, Jim.
62% ROI or net?
62% incline in sales for the week.
Oh, 62% increase.
Yes.
Wow. That's over last week?
Over the last week.
Yeah, I got you. Wow. So you're climbing fast. That's great.
And I don't want to say that's a problem because it's a good problem to have, but things are moving quickly. We're replenishing. We're throwing out new products every now and then. So we really have to, we're trying to find the equal balance to it all. But, the last week we just kind of noticed last night we were talking to our coach and we're like, oh my God, I'm still not 100% on like the ROI. I mean, I am, but not 100%, figuring all that out. But we are 84% ROI since we've started, and we're at a 27% profit margin.
That's outstanding. You guys are really finding some great. You guys are finding some great replens. And what is give me some sales numbers if you don't mind, the most recent full month, or what's your average day looking like? Just give me some ballpark numbers if you don't mind sharing.
Yeah. The past week, we've been between about 300 to 500 a day. But, I have to be honest, I'm a true believer. The more you know, the more you grow. I mean, it's very consistent with what is happening to our sales and our business is the more we learn, and we're busy learning. And then I said last night, we're like, oh my God, look where we are. Like we've been busy just building and learning. And then you just stop to think and we're like, we're exploding. What are we going to do?
That's such a good problem to have. I mean, especially now, you look around and there's a lot of people in kind of desperation and the future is uncertain and their job, like if they lose that, they lose it all. And people have been laid off and upheavals kind of everywhere. And then I love that in our community, there's definitely still people going through real world issues, but there's a lot of really encouraging success stories emerging as well, even from people who only started, a few months ago and you're just ramping up. What a great story.
It's incredible. It really, I still can't wrap my mind around it when I sit and think about it. And back to, the community and the podcast and everything. I mean, it's 2023 and everyone knows what you see when you turn the news on. I'm telling you, there's not 1 ounce of that in anything that has to do with this community.
It's an oasis.
Nothing.
isn't it? It's an oasis.
It's like a miracle. I mean, truly, you can't explain it to other people that don't know, because you don't see that in any other aspect of life right now, unfortunately. So like, I feel so blessed to be here.
I appreciate it so much to hear you say that, because, we strive really hard to focus on culture. That's been a part of from day one. 20 years ago, I was on a very lonely journey in e-commerce. I was looking around for people of integrity, doing things that worked, not hyping and showing piles of cash and fancy cars on TikTok like you were talking about earlier. Like, I want real people. Like, here's what's not working. Here's where I'm struggling. I wanted community. So to see it kind of get to this point where people, here you are 4 months in, and you're making these kind of observations, and the community's growing with a positive vibe, and encouraging, uplifting vibe, that's just, to me, it feels like mission accomplished. And just that's what we wanted to accomplish.
To us as well, right, Jim? And we're both, we both have pretty demanding full-time jobs as well. So, doing this part-time, I don't know that we would have gotten here without the help we've had we wouldn't have gotten here without the help of the community. So,
yeah, well, that's what we do. And, the beautiful part about it, I know you guys have probably heard me say this before, but maybe there's a new listener today who's never heard. Why do we take so much time? I was actually even asked this, typically when people ask what I do for a living, they don't know who I am or what I do or anything about it. And I start to tell them, like, now, why is it that, you've got a bunch of successful people doing this business? And like, why do you guys spend time helping other people learn to do the business? Like, wouldn't you just do it instead of teaching other people how to do the business? Like, you'd think maybe that's not a bad way to go. A lot of people do that. But something that happens here, and I've been doing this a long time, and I've started to notice, like you guys, I see you're getting this energy, you're getting this momentum. You can start to envision, like, this Chris Bean lady, this coach, she's pretty cool. She stepped away from a very serious, lucrative corporate career to do this. I might consider something like that myself at some point. So what have we done by pouring into you guys? We've created a couple future leaders, content creators, people that can step up on stage and motivate and encourage all of us. So when we pour into the new folks, because we have an abundance mentality, meaning there's as much success to go around as anybody could possibly ever hope for, we're just tapping the tip of the iceberg with the models we teach here. We can all rise the tide together. So that's why we spend time doing this, because it makes our life better. And I've seen it happen over and over and over again for years as we pour into the new students. Not all of them turn into inspirational leaders and success stories, but a lot of them do. And that encouragement, that momentum, it's like a flywheel is the term you hear sometimes. It's like this positive flywheel. It just keeps getting better and better. The more we pour into the new folks and encourage them and turn them into success stories, the more successful we become ourselves, because we learn from you. And that, a lot of the new courses and content we have coming are from people not that long ago were brand new and had no idea what they're doing. And here they are stumbling across new strategies and teaching all of us how to improve our businesses. So that's why we do what we do. One of the many reasons. But yeah, certainly appreciate the encouragement today. You guys are, and I remember our conversations in the past. You guys are you play off each other. I can tell you're very, very close, and you just have a vibe of encouragement. So I love having you guys a part of the community.
Thank you.
One thing I would recommend to new sellers is stay positive, because, you can get a little bit frustrated. You can think that you're not moving fast enough. And the reality is you're moving at your own pace. And as long as you're truly plugging along and doing what you need to do to be successful, you will be eventually. So
yeah, you will get there. And the beauty of this model is it's just such a low risk model. Like, let's talk through some of the bad decisions you guys have made and what it costs you, for example, right?
Well, I'm going to be honest. I don't really think we made bad decisions in the beginning, but to date, I don't think there's one item that we've put out there that hasn't sold. We have our very first item that we bought, and we thought, this is going to be it. Well, when we learned, it was us and Amazon selling it. Okay. So when we learned that, we're like, okay, that wasn't the best decision, but we've sold them. We've eventually not sold them all, but we sell about one every couple of weeks, of course, because we threw in a big batch and whatever. But that just helped us, that was just another learning moment. And then we have an item that we call the spice with no hope. This spice, it's just a spice grinder. and she has a life of her own. She does not meet up to anything that we've learned today. There's no drops. There's like really no keep, but there's no information on her. And we sell at least 2 or 3 a week, right, sis?
More than that.
So we call her the spice with no hope. Yeah.
That's great. I love that. I just asked you guys for some examples of products and purchases that fell flat. And the best you can come up with is stuff that's selling.
Yeah. So. Well, but they defied all the rules. I mean, right. We've obviously had things that, we came back and we're like, we realized it didn't, we thought we were going to make a profit and we didn't, and we just abandoned it and moved on, or
broke even.
We've tried to, find another, whatever, put it, a 2-pack or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you get creative, find another ASIN, create your own 2-pack or 3-pack, that sort of thing. There's always a creative way with the Replens model specifically, where, again, I know you guys know this, but for the listeners' sake, if they're new to Replens, never go super deep on any one product. You're never rushing out and saying, wow, I'm excited about this product, I'm going to go buy 200 units. No, you buy 5 or you buy 10 and you test. Maybe it's just 2 or 3 units and you test and you see what happens. And if it sells profitably, you replenish that inventory. That's the name, Replens, that we came up with 5-6 years ago in this community for this concept, Replens. Let's find stuff that sells over and over again at a nice profit. If it stops being profitable for you for whatever reason, or it stops being available to you for whatever reason, you just keep finding more Replens and you move on. Your list is always changing a little bit. Month over month, you're going to see some of the ASINs drop off and a whole lot of new ones come on. But you guys are finding most of the ASINs yourself, I take it. It sounds like to me so far.
So far, we don't have a virtual assistant.
Yeah,
we've talked about it. So.
That's great. You guys are more than positioned to begin to bring some help onto the team and maybe train your own VA or get one. But it sounds like you guys are ready to start expanding the team to me a little bit. If you're doing $300 to $500 a day, nice profit margins, 27% profit margin. That's tremendous. That's a really,
thank you.
That is a beautiful business. I love it. We'll get back to the program in just a second, but I want to tell you about some features included in a software tool called Sellerboard. It's time for you to know your numbers. Get over to silentjimdotcom/numbers and check out the special offer that we have for this community with Sellerboard. Starting at just $15 a month, you can get a suite of powerful tools that not only help you understand all your numbers, but give you follow-up email tools, review request campaigns, inventory management, reimbursements for lost and damaged stock and FBA errors, listing change alerts. Wouldn't it be nice to know if one of the listings you're selling on has changed? You can get those alerts with Sellerboard. Pay-per-click bid and keyword optimization, much more. It's a very robust package at a very low price with a great special offer for listeners to this show. If you're an Amazon seller and you don't know your numbers, you need Sellerboard. Get over to silentjim.com/numbers and check it out. Let's get back to the show. It sounds like you guys are ready to start expanding the team to me a little bit. If you're doing $300 to $500 a day, nice profit margins, 27% profit margin. That's tremendous. That's a really,
thank you.
That is a beautiful business. I love it. But you guys are probably ready to start offloading some of the hourly work. Who does the bulk of the prepping? How's that? Talk me through that.
So we'll
Sissy and I.
Prepping. Yeah, we're doing it ourselves, right? Yeah. Like we'll either be together over a weekend and prep all of our stuff at that time, or I'm periodically sending out intermittent shipments, as well as Michelle doing the same. Missy, sorry, I never call you Michelle.
Or what has happened is Sissy decided to go on a big tropical vacation and leave me in snowy New York, and had I don't know how many boxes of items shipped to my house.
I had 10.
Well, I had 10. So while she was gone, I put out 10 shipments or 10 boxes. But
you're not complaining.
No.
Even though she was getting a tan while you were working in the snow. Right. I'm not complaining.
Yeah. I used to send her pictures of the crystal blue rotter to make her feel better, Jim. I don't think it worked.
Hey, you did your part then. You did your part. You tried to make her feel good.
How's the replens going?
Yeah. Oh, that's great. You guys have a beautiful relationship that I love diving into. One of the things that I've seen play out over the years is when people do these things, friendship, business built around a friendship and relationship, and just making sure you have the things really tied down. You actually bring up a good point with that, somewhat fun, silly example, but what if one of you was sick for 6 months? What if one of you had a life family drama thing that just took you out of the picture? Like these what ifs and how's it look and what do we do in these scenarios? And just kind of sitting down with someone that can help you think through those things. We can't cover it in this episode, but just encourage you guys that as smooth and fun and cool and easy as it is now, it won't always be that way. Something's going to happen to one of the two of you or both of you. Like, what do we do then? So just having those contingency plans, asking the hard questions before life gets hard will help you guys really kind of identify how to make sure that you weather the storm of whatever that is that's coming that you guys don't know about. Because as this $300 to $500 a day turns to $1 or $2 or $3 or $4,000 a day, and that's some real money, and you've got an asset at that point that you need to think through those things. So just want to encourage you. And one of the good places to start is, from my experience, is just a seasoned accountant who's kind of been there, done that, seen it all. They've seen partnerships come and go. They've seen partnerships wreck friendships, and they've seen partnerships build beautiful businesses. And I'm pro partnership. I used to be kind of anti, and now I'm pro. I see the benefit and the value of it, but you do want to be aware of those kind of things. So just make sure you've got someone asking you guys the hard questions to kind of think through.
I have a voicemail on my phone because we called Hummingbird. And so I need to make a phone call after to get some consultation on that, because, we do not have an LLC yet. We're trying to work on it, but with our distance and signing papers and things like that. And at the beginning, we had heard, oh, maybe you don't need it right now, see where your business goes. But like I said, things grew so fast. So you're right. We are trying to get things in place at the moment.
Well, and that, like getting the LLC set up and getting yourself legal. And you mentioned Hummingbird. That's one of the services we offer to the community with, legal and tax and the basic marketing, getting yourself brand registered, trademarked, all that. Yeah. Just kind of dotting the I's, crossing the T's. But I still want to encourage you to develop a separate relationship with ideally someone local who's been doing small business accounting for, let's say, 25 years or more. And just say, we'd love to talk it over with you. Just get some advice, pay you for your time. Help us think through this partnership we've developed and the trajectory of our business, because it's just numbers on paper and you guys are just two people at that point. And they can say, well, have you guys thought about this? What about this? What about, what if one of you dies? What if one of you gets sick for 6 months? What if you want someone to kind of, what are our contingencies here? What does this thing really look like if things get weird or rough in one of our lives? That's a separate, besides all the legal stuff, I'm just talking about the relational stuff, because you guys have a really special relationship. And I've seen how businesses can both improve and expand and stretch those and start to put some pressure on them as well. And I don't like a marriage, where, you get into the business. And my wife and I, we had to navigate this as well and have some people kind of help us think through and talk through, like, what's it look like to have the business and the kids and the homeschooling under the same roof and to be together a lot. And my wife actually does a great session at our live events where she kind of talks through that from the vantage point of the non-entrepreneurial spouse. And she does a great job of it. It's always very entertaining, but they call us the crazy entrepreneurs, and they kind of all get together and make fun of us and have fun and talk about how to be a cheerleader, even when you're crazy entrepreneurs being crazy. Right. So that's fun for them. But just the relational issues, because I see your friendship, which was there well before you guys got into the business together.
Years.
Right now, it's enhancing it, but there will be challenges that stretch it. And I just want you guys to be prepared for that.
Yeah.
I know this, we made a pinky promise. Does that stand up well?
In court, that's all you need.
We made a pinky promise that none of this would ever affect our friendship, and it wouldn't. And we have other friends. We went to college together, so it's been like 30 something years. And there's a group of us, and, we want to pull everybody in. There's something for everybody to do in whatever capacity it is. And so not that people, they would help, but we're not really in a position to pay people right now, but everyone's interest, everyone's involved. People send us things to sell. And, so we're going to have something really great and big that will hopefully involve a lot of our friends and family.
Yeah.
Like that's just what I envision.
I've seen that I've got a little bit of a head start on you. So I've got my mom and my aunt and two of my boys and my daughter working, and the other family kind of loosely related working on our behalf and interested in contributing in little ways. It is so fulfilling. It's so fulfilling. So I love seeing it happen. Some people say, oh, never involve family and friends in business. Don't hire anybody unless you can fire them. Yeah, there's some wisdom there, but those hard, fast rules rob a lot of the joy you could have by including the people that you love the most in your business. But it needs to be done with caution and, some kind of forethought of, what if type of scenarios. But
Missy and I tend to be, we play off of each other very well, Jim, both in business and in life, right? I tend to be the polar opposite of Missy in so many ways, but yet we think so much alike. It's a very interesting, long-standing friendship, right? And our common goal, we've all said, a lot of the girls that are in our clique, they're divorced or whatever the case may be. We're just going to get everybody involved and live in a big compound. We decided, Jim.
And we've been saying this for years now. We talk about our retirement home. We have it designed, and like over the summer, I think it was, I just sat there and thought, we talk about this for 30 years, but nothing's going to happen unless someone gets off their tush and gets it done. So here we are.
That's fantastic. It sounds like a great story starting to unfold, and it's going to be such a beautiful thing to start to see it come to fruition. If there's anything I can do to help you guys as you kind of cross those decision points and you're trying to make some big decisions, not that I can say, hey, here's what you should do, but I'd like to pride myself on being able to encourage people that here's some hard questions that have you asked yourselves these questions yet? You might have, these are some questions you might consider asking yourself. I think that's kind of where I can bring maybe some input as you guys start to do some of these things. But I'm thrilled to see the trajectory you guys are on. I'm so excited, and you just got so much energy about the business and so much positivity about it. You're making great progress, beautiful numbers. I don't know what else to say along those lines. But is there anything else on your guys' minds? Any questions or maybe some tips for the listeners, for those who are maybe new to e-commerce or Replens? What's on your mind? Take it from here.
So I would say from my perspective, stay positive over everything. Right?
I love that. You mentioned that earlier, and that's a great point. Yeah, mindset is huge.
Yep.
I will say, and Sis and I, we just commented this on the other day that, obviously being friends for so many years, we've gone through tribulations, trials, whatever. And I literally said, we have not one single time since we started doing this said, maybe we shouldn't do this, or I don't think I can, not once, not one time. That's crazy.
I haven't even thought it, let alone vocalized.
No, right? No, don't get me wrong, Jim. There's a little cursing going on when we're 52-year-old women and we're picking up 50-pound boxes and we're not going to, there's a little vulgarity once in a while going on. But other than that, it has been straight positivity. It really,
You picked it up with determination. The phrase that came to my mind was burn the boats. You're all in. Right? You know what I mean? Burn the boats. This is plan A and B. There's no plan C. Yeah. Let's make this happen.
And, I had listened to one of your podcasts, or I'm not sure where I heard you say it, but something about, what are you doing it for? What are you doing anything in life for? Set a goal. What's your goal? And so we talked about it, and we made a list. What are our goals? Number one, take care of our parents if we had to.
Mm-hmm.
And then number two, let's retire at 55. And we've got 3 more years, and that really is our trajectory, as you say.
I think you'll be having so much fun at that point that you'll just be playing the role that you want to play with the team doing the different moving pieces. And it reminds me of Gary and Gay on our team, coaches on our team, that they travel full time. They run their business. They've got their business in their pocket, as I like to say. As long as they got an internet connection, they're good to go. And they're traveling the world, or traveling the United States primarily, and checking in the mornings with their team. Everything's good. All right, day's free, and their business continues to grow because every part of this business can be outsourced and offloaded onto someone else that does it with excellence. And you've got just a handful of moving parts. And as long as someone's got those things covered, you could call yourself retired if you want, or call yourself a business owner. I guess it doesn't matter. You've got the flexibility now to do what you'd like. And that's certainly something that's doable within the next 2 to 3 years. No question.
Yeah.
Like 3 years on. And the beautiful thing too is, we're kind of skipping over. I need to emphasize this more often, because 95% of the success stories on this podcast are people doing the model you guys just described. We've got hundreds of those success stories, right? But this is just the base. This is the foundation. You can get into so many other great areas of opportunity based on this foundation of understanding that you guys have with Amazon. Those can be either separate businesses or other income streams, new opportunities to stack on top of this that are every bit as much as exciting and lucrative and automatable, right? So
right. I've been listening to the product partnering training, and I have a lot of friends that have items that they sell, and maybe I can bring them to the market. So I'm just kind of doing that like on my drives.
Yep.
And I had one of the things Sissy pointed out is how we're so different is I'm all over the place and she's, straight down the road. But I feel so creative right now. I have so many ideas in my head and so many other things I want to do. And when I listen to the product partnering, I'm like, I like to talk to other people. I feel like I'd be really good at it. So she and Chris in a coaching session said, we're not doing that now. We're doing this. And I said, well, I'm just going to let you know, I'm going to continue to listen to that on my free time, and we'll see where it goes.
I love the long-term thought process, right? But
there's so much opportunity there. There really is. And I think that people think that because it's this huge company, multi-million-dollar company, that they're all over Amazon or something. And that's not necessarily true. And as an example, I know a family who had a business it was a very successful business that ran out of the 50s. Well, the model, and I get it, they like to stay true to the model and the person who developed it, but it never really came to now. And so the business is gone. And right there is an example of they have products that everybody loves and everybody misses. And, maybe just some silly little girl like me could go and speak with them and help them get their business.
Yeah.
Maybe not even Amazon, but maybe just online and exposed to the world.
And you've got the credibility to have those conversations at this point already. You mentioned the proven product partner, and we call it the PPP module inside the Proven Amazon course. Another one of those great modules teaches you how to help brands, brand owners, products that aren't on Amazon, or products that are struggling on Amazon, or products that would rather own their brand versus having all the resellers kind of chipping away at it. You can help them get brand registered, trademark, get their great professional listings and photos, and they'll pay you well to manage that part of their business on their own Amazon account. You get paid a percentage. Beautiful model. It's a great way to diversify your portfolio, so to speak, taking advantage of this huge e-commerce platform that we all enjoy. Yeah. So absolutely, the opportunity is there. But I love Sissy. You were just you were reeling her in. For those who aren't watching, you're like, all right, let's reel her in. She's off over here talking about other models, and that's the beauty of a partnership is you've kind of got the dreamer and the person who's thinking what it could be. And, 1 out of every 10 ideas end up coming to fruition, but you need someone playing that role. And then you need the person like, okay, but what are we going to do today? Let's put this on the agenda and action steps, right?
And I'm a project manager, Jim. So that's
your career.
Yep.
Wow. What a perfect match. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm a court stenographer. So I just meet every walk of life all day long, every single day. And that's another problem. That's not really a problem, but I love my career. I love going to work. So retiring at 55 is going to be hard for me, but
we'll make it work.
We'll make it work. But I just love my career, and I don't think a lot of people can say that when they're venturing into something else. To me, this is just, I don't know. This is where I feel more creative, and I don't know how to explain it. I'm just really lucky.
Yeah. You see a lot of people that are trying to escape a career they don't like, and that's their motivation. But I would argue that's a weaker motivation than someone who's say, hey, here's this goal where I want to be 5 years from now. I love my job. I love my life. I love my kids. They've got great friends. I've got a great friend doing business with me. Like, I love everything about where I'm at, but I've got a bigger goal out there on the horizon that I'm aiming for. It's just such a positive motivation versus here's what I'm trying to escape.
Yep.
Good stuff. Yeah. Well, what else is on your mind? Guys, any tips? You mentioned the mindset thing, which is a topic of passion for me, Sissy. I love everything about, because that is something I've seen. The number one thing I see make or break people is relationships. If you have no relationships, you try to do this as a lone wolf, you're going to crash and burn. The other thing absolutely is mindset, which is completely within your control to approach life with a sense of gratitude, which bubbles up optimism, which gives you an unfair advantage in life and relationships and finances and every area of your life. It starts with gratitude. And you guys both just ooze with gratitude. I can just, see it all over both of you. And that's led to this positivity, which leads to, your coach loves you. Chris, I'm sure Chris looks forward to her sessions with you versus someone else is like, well, I don't know. I tried last week and I don't know. Like, let's go, buddy. Come on. This stuff works. You can do it. You guys are just showing up with ideas and energy, and you'll attract good people into your life doing that. I'm sure you've seen. But what besides those things?
That's another thing is what you said is relationships. With other sellers, I've reached out to, before I found your Facebook group, I was on other groups and some of them I still follow, and there's really great people there, but then you always see the people that are going down the wrong path and you want to save them. But how do you save them? Because I don't want to comment on the page. It's not my page. I don't want to be offensive, be like, hey, come over to Silent Jim, and then if you message them, there's a lot of scammers out there, and we had that happen to us, and it's really, it's hard. I think, we're older, we're wiser, we can recognize it faster than maybe a younger person who doesn't have the life experiences, and they get tangled up going down the wrong path. And so I've tried to rescue as many as I can and bring them over. And I've got a couple I chat with. I've got a group of some girls that you just offered like a 1 hour let's talk on a Saturday afternoon. And so I had messaged all the girls in that, and we have a little group, and some of them are in different parts of the world. And it's just great, it's.
Yeah. Appreciate you kind of spreading the word and sharing. Yeah. You've got to kind of earn the right to talk into people's lives, and they don't care how much you know till they know how much you care, kind of thing. Right. So that's the uphill battle that we've faced. And I've seen it I've been doing this a pretty long time, longer than probably most other people you'll ever meet. E-commerce and teaching people how to use the internet creatively to launch and grow businesses. And the first thing most people think when they see someone in that arena is scam. So it takes sometimes weeks or months or longer for people to become convinced. That's why I tell people, listen to 20 or 30 podcast episodes before you make up your mind about us. Listen to great interviews like this one and 30 more, and just decide for yourself, are these the kind of people I want to hang out with? Maybe we don't resonate with you. Maybe there are other things you want to try. But I call our community frequently a burn unit for the e-commerce industry. Like, the hospitals have their burn units. Like, after people have been out there and they tried a bunch of stuff and they've just kind of fried, and they're like, okay, I'm done. And they show up here and like, wait, so you guys don't want thousands of dollars from me before you'll talk to me? Just completely free. Some of my favorite podcast episodes are students who say, I've never bought anything from you, never used a course, never used coaching. All I've done is listen to the podcast. I feel like I owe you money, but I've built a beautiful business. Like, that's great. We love those kind of testimonies.
Well, and I said this before, the podcast, just the podcast alone is a learning experience. You can learn so much. And I just listened to, I believe her name is Alyssa. She's a nurse you just had on the podcast. Like, she's just so inspirational. She's just so inspirational. She gave up a nursing career, a teaching career, and she's making this work. And, you hear people like that, and it's not even hearing their story. It's getting the little tips out of what they do. Everyone does something different, and you really can just build a business listening to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Just the tips and strategies. It's a full education. It's better than any MBA at any university. I'll hold up this podcast and the real stories, real world, what's working right now. Yeah, fantastic.
Well, and the beauty is everybody's willing to share those experiences, right, Jim?
Yeah.
So
we scare off people who aren't really. People think we're crazy.
Yeah.
They kind of
Well,
the old saying, you never look down on anybody unless you're leaning over to pick them up, Jim.
Oh, that's good. I like that. It reminds me of hey, if you get knocked over, try to land on your back. Because if you can look up, you can get up.
Get
right?
Up. Yeah, I've heard that as well.
Oh, that's great. Good.
Well, how about any other tips? Anything come to your mind?
Well, I had a really good tip. We got a really good tip from our coach last night because we were kind of going back and forth, we've mentioned a couple different tools that we use, and we're like, and Chris made a really good point. And even with the PAC program, I mean, the price is so low. It's a monthly fee. But as your business grows and you're making more money, those fees don't move. We just paid for something last night that was a one-time fee. We're going to have it forever. So we're going to be making millions by the time we're 55, I think is what we're saying. But that price of that program is never going to move.
Yep.
It'll be like, so this community makes it really easy and you can pick and choose. You don't have to have all the tools. You can, you have to have Keepa though. You have to have Keepa.
Yeah. We've seen plenty of people in our community, plenty of episodes where one particular couple comes to mind where they've both left their careers behind at this point, but just the two of them, married couple, built a 7-figure business using just Seller Central, which is free as an Amazon seller, and Keepa. That's it. Proven Amazon course students, coaching students, but they didn't go out and buy 15, 20 different tools and research tools. And no, that was it. And we encourage them. They eventually got some other automation tools in place and their businesses exploded. But yeah, it's not a complex set of, typically we say there's really only 3 things you're going to need. Get the proven Amazon course, $39 a month, get Keepa, about $20+ a month, and get your Amazon seller account, another $30, approximately between 30 and 40. Can't remember what it is right now. That less than $100 a month. That's it. Buy some inventory, try the system out. And especially when you contrast that to a lot of the Amazon training out there, they want $5,000 or $8,000. I've seen $20,000 and $50,000 packages. Like, what are you buying for that much money? Learn the basics, get paid as you learn, slow and steady. 3-4 months in, you guys have more than paid for all the investment that you've made and everything. And you're just, reaping the benefits at this point of the investment.
And you really don't even need to buy inventory. We went around our houses and threw some things out, and surprisingly, again, not knowing what we were doing, everything sold. Everything.
Yeah. Just getting used to the process. Yeah.
Yeah. Books. We did the book thing. It didn't really, we sold books, but it isn't like our passion or something that we want to continue.
It's a tough model to scale, but it's a good place to start, to sell a few used books and just see how the process works, ship them in and feel out the process. But yeah, Replens is where it's at, and you guys are doing a great job. Well, it's been a great
I would just say one last tip, Jim.
Yeah, go ahead, please. Yeah, I love tips.
And Miss, you actually mentioned this earlier, but when you're looking and you're sourcing out products, buy 5, throw them out there, see how it goes, right? We never bought mass quantities of anything, Jim, in the beginning. And then once we realized, hey, this is profitable, this is moving, then you go dig in for those larger purchases. So
yeah, we typically say you don't want more than 1 month's worth of inventory for anything. So if it's selling a couple units a day, 50 or 60 units at a time, at max of 1 month's worth. That's it. Because the things could change tomorrow and you could say, I need to cash out of this, and you get your money back. Maybe you take a small loss on those last few units. That's fine. You've made your money on that ASIN. You move on and you keep adding to your lists.
Yeah.
That's great. Good tip. Good tip. Anything else come to mind for either one of you guys? Any questions for me or anything else you want to cover before we go? I think we've dropped a really good episode on folks today.
Yeah, I hope so.
Other than I would just like to thank everybody in this community.
Yeah, really.
the support.
Oh, I know what I do want to say one more thing back to the couple that you were talking about. I think I know who you're talking about. Which reminded me that when we first joined the PAC course, we also did the Kickstart program. And so I think that's really important for new sellers to do, because not only Sis and I were a little bit further ahead than our group. So sometimes, newer sellers maybe got a little more out of it than we did because we were kind of a little further ahead. But you can meet other people. You can go through your journey with other people. And it's live with a coach. And it was just really great and really informative. And even for Sis and I, who were maybe a little further ahead, and we're like, well, we've already sent out a product and we've sent out multiple products, but we always picked up some tip from somebody in a session.
I loved hearing that. Yeah. Would you agree with that, Sissy?
I would, 100%. Yep.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Because the Kickstart,
we had done a lot of research up front, but by all means, we took something away from everything, Jim, that we've been on, right? Every podcast, every session, Yeah,
you're just soaking it up. You're soaking up the content. Because typically when people ask about the Kickstart, what that is when you first buy the Proven Amazon course, I know you guys know this, but for the listener's sake, when you first buy the Proven Amazon course, you're offered an opportunity to jump into a Kickstart group, which is a Zoom session with one of our top coaches, and you meet a handful of times. And the goal is to get you from wherever you're at, typically not knowing much at all, if anything, to making your first couple sales using the Replens system on Amazon. So we've got you this Kickstart, and it's less than $40 to get into it. And we've heard great things. A lot of really cool communities have formed through these small Kickstart groups. It's typically between like 3 to 8 or 10 people, something like that, depending on how many people sign up between each session that we do and how many people are interested. But you guys you already had some momentum. You were already kind of rolling. You said, hey, let's do that Kickstart thing. It's not that expensive. And you had a great experience, even though you had some momentum already. So that maybe that's an encouragement for someone who kind of feels stuck or stale, or they want a little bit of a community feel. They want to hang out with a coach and just see what it feels like to work with someone from our team. Not a bad way to kind of feel things out. You can contact our support team. There's a link at silentjimdotcom. Just say, hey, they were talking about Kickstart on the podcast. What is that? And maybe see if that's for you. They can help you out with that. But yeah, I appreciate you mentioning that for sure, Sissy. Or Missy, that was you.
Common mistake, Jim. Common mistake.
It happens, right? Yeah. If you guys are going to get rhyming nicknames that have everything in common except the first letter, you got to expect a little bit of that, right? So, anything else on your mind before we start?
No, we're looking forward to the conference. We'll see you at the conference.
Of course.
We're looking forward to that.
You're doing a better job at my job than I am today. Yeah, the Proven Conference.
Oh, yeah, the conference.
Yep, July 6th through 8th, Columbus, Ohio. Come meet Missy and Sissy. They're going to be the ones walking around, skipping arm in arm all over the place, encouraging everybody, just like they were last time. Right? That's your gig. But you guys are going to be there and can't wait. Hundreds of listeners to this podcast, and a lot of the guests that you've heard on this show, a lot of our coaches, most all of them. That's who speaks on our stage. Something I'm proud about with this event, guys. This is our 11th year, which makes it one of the most established e-commerce events in the industry. 11 years is a long time in e-commerce.
Yeah.
The thing that makes it special is we don't bring in a bunch of outside special speaker guests. It's all people from our community that are doing cool things with what we teach around here, the latest cutting edge strategies and ideas. And that's just the content side. The relationship side, the after hour hanging out, small groups of people gathering, giving each other tips and strategies. And our coaching director, Nate, said it's the only e-commerce event where you're going to see more hugs than handshakes, because it's for a lot of us, it is a family reunion. But very warm and welcoming for the new folks as well. Always have a good number of new people joining us. But yeah, thanks for mentioning that. And still tickets available. And join us, Columbus, Ohio, July 6th through 8th, 2023, the Proven Conference. Another link that I'll stick in the show notes. All right.
And thanks for your time, Jim. Really appreciate it.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. It was truly a pleasure. But let me talk to the listeners for just a second as we wrap this one up. I think I can predict that this is going to be a very popular show. So you picked a good one. If this is one of your first podcast episodes, you picked a really good one. But I do want to encourage you, listen to 15 or 20 episodes and get a feel for this community. We've got a whole bunch of great stories that we've told over the past few weeks, months, years, hundreds of episodes of success stories. That's what this show is all about, is validating the strategies that we teach by bringing you the people who are doing the business models. so you can meet them, get to know them, and contact them. Hang out in our free Facebook group. There's 72,000 of us from around the world doing these strategies. It's a free Facebook group. There's a link at silentjimdotcom. Jump in there, come learn more about us. Come hang out with us in Columbus, Ohio, if you're seeing this before July 6th through 8th, 2023 as well, the Proven Conference. That's the last of the announcements that I got. Missy and Sissy, you guys were awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
And we'll talk again very soon, my friends. And to all the guests who joined us today, God bless the business building warriors. We will do this again very soon. Hey, thanks for listening today. Before I let you go, one last announcement. I want to remind you about our great sponsor, Seller Board. Get to silentjim.com/numbers, and you'll see the special offer they have for you. Starting at just $15 per month, you can get the most accurate tracking, the best analytics tool for your Amazon seller account. And not only does it help you track your numbers and know when you're profitable or not on each ASIN, it also gives you additional features such as managing your inventory, getting reimbursements for FBA errors, staying informed about listing changes, and optimizing your pay-per-click campaigns. A bunch of robust features for just a few dollars. It's a great tool. Many successful sellers in our community are using them, especially loving the way that they help you know if you're profitable or not, keeping track of all those different fees. Hey, go check out Seller Board, silentjim.com/numbers. We'll talk to you next time.